Welcome to Sleeping Dog video. Woohoo, woohoo, my Elegoo Centauri Carbon 3D printer has arrived. Woohoo, I'm so happy. Okay, that may be good enough. And so I want to go, let's say, to go to English and then confirm. And then let's see what it says. Use a hex key to remove the screw shown in the image. Okay, I've already done that. So confirm. Okay, now ensure the chamber is free from foreign objects. Then click confirm, which I'll open this up if I don't hit my camera. You can see that it is free from all debris. And I made, hold this open. Then confirm. Then it says start self-check. Place the build plate correctly with side A facing up. And I don't know which one's side A, but this is the side. Oh, yeah, it says A in the back. So A is in the back corner. So that's the, I think it's PEI sheet, the real rough PEI sheet. So side, start. And then you can watch it. I may put you back. You can see the display, but I'll put you back like this and put you back a little bit. So if you want to zoom in to display, you can. I'm going to put you back so it's not going to show everything, but it will show the display and what the printer is doing. So we'll do that for a minute. This process, as I hear on other videos, is supposed to take 30 minutes. So I might just, if it seems to be working, then I will maybe put you on pause and come back after it's all calibrated. But we'll see if it's doing its job. It says nozzle heating. Now it's tuning. Well, it says tuning, but it's heat bed heating. I'll put the microphone in here. You can, I can tell that it's, in this process, I can tell that it's noisy, but not overly noisy. So I'm going to take my mic off. You can hear. So it's basically, I think, just noise, fan noise, maybe a little bit of some other noise, but mainly fan noise, I think. I'm going to also look, while this is going, I'm going to look around the back and see if there is, if it's like, if I have to take it off. Oh, there you go, it's doing something. It's oozing out some filament, so that must have been from, I didn't load any filament, so that must be from the testing it at the factory. Now, I didn't install anything like cutters or anything else. So my Bamboo X1C came with everything pre-installed and then came with extra parts. I'm assuming that this is the same way, that everything's built into here. So we will see. Oh, I do see at the very top, back by the, there is a place for the wiping right next to the poop chute. So I wonder if that's the, if all that is integrated. The poop chute, I don't think on my on my carbon printer, that was really noisy. On my carbon printer, the Bamboo one, it looked like two separate places, one for the wiping and one for the poop chute, or maybe they were close together. I'll have to re-look at it. But that was, I'm putting the mic close up so you can hear the noise, because that was louder than my X1C. I'll put you up a little bit so you can see the printer working a little bit more. Okay, that might be good so you can watch the printer top where the bed is. Now this part, after it calibrated the vibration, so that was the noisy part. Now it's going into whatever the next stage is. Automatic leveling. So as you can hear, That it turned on the fan to full. I don't know if it's testing the fan or why it turned on the fan to full. But there's a lot of airflow coming out. Also, you can hear that when the fan's on full with the door open, I'll shut the door and let you listen to the sound, but that's pretty darn loud. But it's running really fast. So this is with the door shut. I'll open up the door so you can see what's going on. Now, as you can hear, it's much quieter now. Let's put it down a little bit more. There, now you can see a little more what's going on. Now it's doing the, I don't know, like 6 or 7 by 7 bed leveling. Yep, this part takes a long time to bed level. If it's going to go through from front to back, this is what takes probably the most time in the setup process. When, for the bed leveling, I hope it's a little bit faster. Normal bed leveling at the beginning of each print. I don't mind on my X1C the time it takes for the bed leveling and calibration, because I don't think it takes overly a lot of time, and I like to make sure that everything's calibrated to get the best adhesion to the bed and print quality and everything. So I'd rather have that and an extra 5 or 10 minutes of setup time before I print a 20-hour print. A 20-hour print with about 10 minutes of setup time doesn't seem to be a lot for me. Other people that want to get the print out, maybe that's a lot for them. But it is maybe a lot if you have a 30-minute, like I had a few, like 10 or 15-minute prints, and I spent 10 minutes on the calibrating portion. And I don't mean calibrating like this. I mean the normal calibration before the print starts. Calibration, so. I could put you on pause, but then I wanted you to see the screen and raise my camera up if you want to see the top for a little bit. Now I hit confirm, so now I have this screen on, and it didn't seem like it took a full half an hour to do the calibration. Maybe it did, but I know you watched the whole thing, so so if it did, it felt like it did less than the stated by many other reviewers, about a half an hour. Anyway, it didn't feel that particularly long. I was showing you the printer in the meantime. So now you can do display. It shows you the printer. Right now, I may put you on pause to put in but I want to set up the Wi-Fi. Now, I believe loading the filament is not going to be any different. People say, well, loading the filament is a lot more complicated. I can't open the door, but a lot more complicated than the X1C. Now, if you're considering the X1C with AMS unit, yes, but my X1C, when I load it from the external spool holder, I still have to feed it in. I still have to watch for the filament to come out the nozzle and verify that filament came out the nozzle and push it through the filament path. So from what I've seen reviews, I don't think that's any different than what this does. So the reviewers that complain about that's a negative, I don't think that's a, quote, negative over the X1C. I think that is maybe a negative on both printers, but not a negative on the Centauri Carbon, because the Centauri Carbon does not have an AMS unit as of today's date. So they say, Elegoo, that they are making one, but as of today's date, you got to take it as is. You can't say, well, the AMS unit on the makes it faster to loading, and so this way of loading is bad or worse. It is and it isn't. This doesn't have an AMS unit yet, but when it has an AMS unit, it's probably going to be just about the same, maybe even better than the Carbon X1C. So I think that you have to take reviews and everything with a grain of salt. So let's go back to the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. Well, that's one thing. Okay. I'm trying to click on the Wi-Fi and I don't notice it doing anything. But these are just a little newbie, I call them newbie glitches, because a lot of this I end up finding out it was just that I didn't know how to use it, opposed to it not working. But let's see if I can do Wi-Fi. There's the light. And now I'd have to show you. I'll pull back this for a second. Okay, there's the printer. You see how the light isn't anything to write home about. So they're going to have to fix that. I believe if there's a plug on the printer that they could come up with another light that could plug in around the printer or something. Someone can devise light. I have a magnetic battery operated light that I think is probably too long. So if I had one that was shorter, it's a bar light. And if I had one that's shorter, I could just put the bar light inside because it's magnetic. So if these are actually aluminum panels, it might magnetically attach to the here, and then when I put it on, it's one of those that senses, so it'll go on and off. And then I can just charge it up and have another complete light, as long as the light doesn't protrude out to hit any of the components in it. That's all. But bar that, I think that's maybe what I'm going to do to get better lighting in here, because definitely you need better lighting straight away. I can open this for a second. I'll pull you back. And then you can see, if I raise up, that's the light on. And there you go. Well, I guess my camera is overexposing it. So it is not as bright as, to me, as the camera is showing. So it's probably about half that bright from the camera. So let me set you back down here. And let me find out why the Wi-Fi isn't going. That's fan settings. I might have to, I'm going to upgrade the firmware, but I'm going to have to find out why when I tap on the Wi-Fi nothing is happening, unless there's not built-in Wi-Fi, which I thought there was built-in Wi-Fi. If I have to use a external Wi-Fi, and then I wonder if that's an extra component. If I did, I have a third-party one that would plug in here to the USB-A port, but I have to find out and review, because I haven't watched a review on it for a few weeks. So I have to find out if that's why this isn't working. Just because it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, which I'm almost sure it does. So, but you can see it's not doing anything. This also is one of these pencils that has a little rubber tip, and these for touchscreens, the rubber tip will allow you to access the touchscreen than using your big huge hunking fingers. So I like that. So I use this for all my touchscreen work. Because we know the touchscreen's working, because the light, as you can see, the light's going on and off. So we know the touchscreen's working. Yeah, we know it's going in here, so we know that that's working. So we know everything but the Wi-Fi. So I'll go back and research why the Wi-Fi isn't working. But basically, I have everything set up. So if you want to know how long it took me to set it up, it took me pretty much no time at all, if that's the whole setup process that you watched already. So this is just trying to get the Wi-Fi working, and I will do that and maybe a few tinkering with the setups on screen to learn how to use it. But that I wouldn't consider as a time constraint on how long it takes out of the box to get to your first print. I suppose that's part of it, but I don't consider that as whether it took me an hour or it took me 30 minutes to do it. That's a different time constraint, if you get my meaning. So I'm going to go down. Here's this. You can see all the different screens. Because also I'm going slower for you guys to show you all the screens. and everything that I normally wouldn't go this slow on. I'm just showing you everything so you can look around. And what was this? This is to do the PID tuning, calibration. PID tuning, I think, is for, it was one I used on my old printers, term. So I think that might be for filament tuning. And then automatic leveling, input shaping, which that loud noise you heard earlier was the input shaping. And then you have one-click self-check. So all this is pretty similar to my X1C. So I already know all these things. I think a few of these things might be different. The PID tuning, and it might be called a different name for the X1C's calibration process, but it's very similar. Right here is how you can move the bed around. Let's move the bed. The bed, I guess the nozzle, because the bed doesn't go in X, Y location. It just goes into Z orientation. So let's try to move the nozzle around. That didn't do anything. So let me try to home. Returning to home. Okay, so return to the home position. So let's see if I click this, if it will. Yeah, it is manually moving, just very slowly, because I have it on a slow setting probably. So I'm putting you back down here. But that did that. So that is all working. And I don't know what balance to mean down here. This is the temperatures. This is the extruder. It could be, I don't know if it's extruder calibration. I'm hoping that this just automatically does everything automatic. Like on my X1C, the extruder, I don't have to fool around with the leveling of how far it is from the print bed. It does all that, which is extremely, extremely nice to have a printer that does all that for you. And I'm hoping that this does, so I don't have to watch the leveling of the print like I used to do on my bed slingers, because that just takes the fun out of 3D printing. And so these are if I had files. I guess there's built-in, you can put an extra card in here, but then SD card or memory stick, but these are all the ones built on here. I'm going to do that. Z offset, so you can do all this. I like to do a lot of all this stuff, and then I'll just allow you to look at it. But I like to do a lot of this stuff from the software on my iPad, or if I have to use it on my Mac computer, I like to do it from there and then check for updates. So I'm going to try that. Okay, current version says is does it say 1.1.4? Something like that. My eyes aren't as good today. And Centauri Carbon. And, oh, there's network. So I don't know what that other button was for then. If this is for the network setup, why it showed, maybe it's just showing, maybe that button, I guess, doesn't function anything except show you whether you have a network connection or not. So I bet that was it. See, we're both learning, and I'm still learning even after like 10 years of trying to do all this. And about 6 months maybe of actually printing, which is wonderful. So now it doesn't say that there's any new version out. So it's kind of nice that this one is so, see, the thing is that with the Centauri Carbon, the first versions that came out, it was kind of good, even though I wanted it earlier. I was good, I didn't get it for like 2 months, because you never know, and I don't know if this is true or not true. This is just my vague guess, is that maybe they figured out some of the bugs, so automatically updated the firmware before I got this printer. Like learned that in shipping, this, when they were having problems with the side panel bending. So maybe they packaged it just a little bit better, and maybe they made some slight improvements. I don't know how much physical improvements they would have made between February and now almost June time frame, but maybe they made little tweaks that make it work better this version. See, I'm gonna get up. I still clicked on the network, and I'm still doesn't look like it's doing anything. So network. Oh, now it is. Okay, so network. Mine, I have to scroll up. Yeah. My name of my house is Treetops. I'll put you on pause while I put in my password, but here's Treetops. And then I'll put you on pause while I do the put in my password. Okay, put in my password. Now it it grabbed a IP address off my router. The Arrow Wi-Fi 6E router, and then it said check mark, so that should be good. So I can go, this is just the information screen, serial number, then here's the camera, time lapse, I could turn on if I wanted. Video list should show nothing. And then time lapse, I could do that. But I'm going to turn it off for now. I wonder if that's going to bog down. It's nice to go back and look at it if you want to look at why a print failed. You can go and look at it what point in the process up to the full failure point. So that's always necessary, always useful. And then settings again. And then this is time zone, power loss recovery. Yes, I like to turn on because it worked flawless on my, Carbon X1C, meaning I had no slowdowns in the printing. So I don't think I actually had a power loss. So I haven't tried it out, but it didn't slow anything down, so I'm leaving this one on. And this is check for updates again. Okay, now, is there now a new update? Because I'm now connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, now update. So there was a new update, I just wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. Now you can see it downloading and doing the update. now on my X1C, the latest update just didn't work. I didn't know if it was partly my fault, and etc. But it didn't work for me, so I went back to my previous version after a little bit of struggle. Went back to my previous version. It's working great now, and every time my X1C says there's a new version upgrade, do you want to upgrade, do you want to upgrade, I say no, no, double no. It's working great, I love it, and until something isn't working that I need to upgrade, no, no, no. But I do recommend upgrading the very first time you buy a printer, because normally between the time it ships and the time it was manufactured and everything, there's a lot of revisions, and you want the latest revision of the software to start. Then find out if everything works and great. And after this process, I'll probably want to go back and do a recalibration, which they recommend on the X1C, of the print head and all that jazz. So we're going to wait, and it's downloading. It shouldn't take too long. I don't know how fast the integrated Wi-Fi is, because my house should have super high speed 600 to 900 megabit even over Wi-Fi speed on my router. I'm going to let you watch this for a minute or two. If it takes too long, then I'll just pause. I'm going to drink a little coffee. As I said, this is not complicated at all for me to set up. This is like so simple. And one, because I already set up the X1C, and this is so similar, obviously not exact, but so similar to how you set up the X1C that it's pretty much. And I have a 8550 Epson photo printer, which is one heck of a great photo printer. Professional quality, where people on the net that are doing YouTube videos that are also doing printing businesses, in their house printing businesses, have a bigger printer that costs a little more money. But the 8550, for the price I paid, because I got it on sale, instead of $800 for the Epson printer, I got it for $550 and then $75. Or I got it for $600 and then $75 off because I traded in my older 800 or something Epson printer to Best Buy. So at the time, I only paid like $525. And then with tax, maybe $545. And that was really a great deal. So I bought it. That was about a year ago. And I printed at first gorgeous prints, even from my iPhone 15 and now 16. So it really prints nice. I didn't try to change out the to the better ink. I decided to keep the stock ink. That was good enough because it's really good ink. There's the one called pigment inks, if you know anything about paper, photo printing. The pigment inks are the ones that are 100-year under glass and out of the sun. Lifespan. Also, if you print it on the paper that doesn't have all the oils and everything in your paper. But I decided I had a printer in the past, like either 350 or something, nice photo printer, but this one, the 855, is a ink tank version of the printers. So it uses bottles of ink. Lately, since I hadn't used it in a few weeks, it went through quite a cycling to get it to start printing again. But it printed fine, and I didn't have to do any manual nozzle checks and everything like you had to do with the older printers. Even the first and second generation of the ink tank printers, it still had the clogging issue. And if you know that, I won't go into explaining the clogging issue. But that was the clogging issue. Let's see if it's done yet. It's downloading. I'm reading. You can read also what it's supposed to fix. I'm going to probably put you on pause, wait for it to download, because for some reason I'm always weary that until I see a progress bar that it's not doing its thing, and you don't want to shut it off or do any of that jazz while it's downloading and installing. So you want to just let it go, leave it alone. So I'll come back to you later. Okay, I wanted to show this message, and as you can see, it says poor network connection, so it failed. Now this is what I get with my router, the Eros. I have one Eero in my living room, which is about 30 feet, give or take, feet away from where the printer is in the back bedroom. And I have one in the kitchen, which is only, maybe 20 feet in the kitchen, so not too far. So, but what happens is sometimes the printer, like my X1C, I have to connect and reconnect the Wi-Fi. So disconnect it from Wi-Fi and reconnect it. Yeah, that could include by just switching it on and off, or putting in the password again, disconnecting it. Because what I want it to do is I want it to grab onto the Wi-Fi router that's closest to it, which is in the kitchen, but it wants to grab on to the Wi-Fi router that's in the living room. And the living room isn't going to give it that much the juice, if you want to refer to it that way, or strength. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconnect to the Wi-Fi, then try the download again, see if it downloads good again. Like when I turn on my X1C, I'm going to have to go through this process of turning it off and on a couple times, see if I can get it to lock on to the kitchen Wi-Fi module. You don't call them expanders anymore, but the second module. Now you can see, if you look at the top one here, where's my trusty little pin? Right here you can see now it's showing full strength on the Wi-Fi. Before it was showing only like 2 bars, so that meant it was connecting into the living room one, and now it looks like it might be connecting into the kitchen one. I had to turn it off and on through this switch a couple of times, like twice, to get it to connect. So let's hope it's connected to the kitchen one. Now let's go back and see about check for updates. Now there's an update, so click on this even though it doesn't say to. Now update. Now let's see if it is working this time. Cross our fingers and knock on wood. I will come back and let you know in a second whether we will know if it worked or not, doesn't work. The next thing I can try if it doesn't work is to totally disconnect. So then that means I have to enter my password again and see if I can get it to link up after entering my password if it says poor network connection. Because it shouldn't, if it's going to the kitchen, have a poor network connection. Oh, I came back on a little quickly because you see now it's at like 2%. So that means it's at least doing better than it did before. So let's hope it finishes the complete download and update with no glitches. As you can see, it says poor Wi-Fi connection again. So what I'm going to do is this time disconnect completely, forget the Wi-Fi network, and then enter my password again. And it's a little jerky because I have this almost hand holding because my battery power in my gimbal went out. So that's why it's jerking a little bit back and forth. But I just wanted to say I'm going to try that. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to try disconnecting and reconnecting the router in my kitchen. See if that helps. And usually one of those things should connect this in. As you can see, that did it by not turning on and off Wi-Fi through the switch, but by telling it to forget the network and reconnecting through putting in the password. See, it's going really fast now, like it should. So you know something's wrong when it's just hanging there, unless you have a super slow Wi-Fi. But now it's updating like super fast, like it's supposed to. So now it's rebooting. See, that only took 30 seconds, or if that, to upgrade. Now it's rebooting. So as I said, I have a super fast fiber connection to my house, one gigabit, not the 10 gigabit, but the 1 gigabit. And so it's going quite well. But to get the printer to connect, I had to do it twice to make sure it connected in to the network correctly. I'm hoping this is good because I'm hand holding my phone at the moment, just so I could show you the process. Now that's all done, so I think the next step is maybe to load filament and to try something.